Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today we're going to be looking at gameplay update 7.33c. This is pretty crazy because, I kind of said this in the 7.33b patch, but it hasn't been long since the last patch. Feel like 7.33b, how long ago was that? I actually don't know. It was on 4/26. How many days is that? Like 17, something like that? It's not a lot of days, right? It's not. It's a very short period of time, and what's crazy is, for me, the DPC, my DPC league, is starting in 1 day from right now. 1 day, and they put out a patch. I feel like old Valve, and this was brought to the attention, to my attention by a friend of mine. Old Valve, or whoever was running it or deciding, has either changed their mind or it's different people, because they seem to be very skeptical about putting patches around majors, the DPC, any event. They would wait a long time, and that caused these huge gaps in patches, where this wasn't necessarily the case a while back. But they seem to be coming back to it now. Seemingly, right? And I don't know all the numbers, so I could be wrong, but that's what it seems to be. And that's cool, because honestly, I like a lot of changes. I love Dota changes. They're fun, they're cool, they prevent broken heroes from being, like, heinously broken heroes from being heinous, like Medusa, for too long. So either way, I'll stop ranting now, we'll get into the patch, and I'll tell you guys what's up. Also, I want to tell you guys that if you've been struggling with solo queue and you're looking to get to the next rank, I'm going to be able to help you. Like, literally, with the Game Leap website, I'm going to give you guys guides that are going to make it unbelievably clear on what you need to do. So if you've been stuck in the solo queue grind, you don't know what to do, and you want to become absolutely broken, but like actually you want to become much better at Dota, and you want to take it more seriously, the Game Leap website is going to help you do that. So click the link down below. I'm going to help you get to the next rank, and I'll see you there. General changes. Picking up a Wisdom Rune now also grants the XP to the lowest level hero on your team. This is massive, guys, okay? This is like insanely huge. Wisdom Runes now give double the XP. That's what this means. That is what it means, straight up. It is freaking massive. If one team gets both of the Wisdom Runes because they sneak one, and the other team does not, they will likely lose. I'm not even just saying that. It will significantly grief your chances of winning if one team gets both of the Wisdom Runes. Especially the 14-minute Wisdom Runes. I mean, definitely the 7 too, but especially the 14, because they're even worth more XP, and you still really need the levels at that point. I guess the 7 is, like, honestly just as important, because, like, it's gonna get you to level 6. As I think about it, at minute 7, if you don't get either of the Wisdom Runes, you're literally cocked. Unless your game, up to that point, you're just owning, right? So, like, on average, it's gonna really hurt you. So, man, guys, Wisdom Runes, please pick them up. Pick them up. If you're a core, just pick it up. Don't take any chances. If you happen to be nearby, just pick it up. It will at least give XP to your low-level support now. Observer wards now give more XP, actually a lot more, like a lot more. So if you can get the D ward on the early obs, it will change the laning stage. It's going to mean you hit level 2 first. It's going to give you kill potential because of that. So it is really huge to be careful about where you're warding, not make it obvious. And it's big if you can find the wards and check inventories and scout it and so on. When a stacked camp is killed, and this is crazy huge for a C patch, they're making changes that are game changing. Like, completely meta-changing, meta-defining in my opinion. When a camp stack is killed, the player that did the stacking receives 30%, which is a lot, of experience gained. Same percentage as gold bounty. So I honestly believe that a big part of the meta is going to be support stacking the triangle, because you're going to get the most XP from ancients, having an ancient farming hero, and then the support will hit level 6 largely off of just getting XP from a stack that, like, a level 8 core is taking. Let's say you're level 5 support and you have level 7, level 8 core. If they take a big stack because they have the levels to do it, 2 stacks, you will just go up a full level. Probably, right? Around there. I don't know the exact numbers, but 30% is an insanely huge number. And in previous patches, I don't know the exact patch, but in previous patches, they made it where you get extra gold from camps. So, like, camps, stacking is insane. It gives more gold to your teammate and a crazy amount of gold to you. I really think stacking is the meta more than ever. It already was, to be honest. If you haven't been stacking camps, you're missing out. Tormentor Reflect now always affects attacking hero regardless of distance. This is mostly just a counter to Enchantress. Cleared multiple tree paths that led to dead ends. That's nice. There was actually quite a bit of tree areas where it just was like, you felt like you could go into it, but you couldn't. And it was very annoying. So I'm glad they noted that. That's actually huge to me. Hero bonus attribute points can now be skilled starting at level 6. I guess this is meant to prevent griefing or misclicking, mostly. I don't think this was particularly too abusable. Even with universal heroes, I don't think it was that abusable, to be honest, because you generally need to skill your abilities, so even with how good stats are on universal heroes, yeah. And then finally, universal heroes damage per attribute increased from 0.6 to 0.7, which might not seem like a big deal, but you have to keep in mind, it adds up. Especially it adds up because every time you level up, you get a lot of stats. But basically it adds up, right? So just keep that in mind. All right, general. Lifesteal from creeps on both purchasable and neutral items increased from 50 to 60%. Okay, so I guess you just heal more generally, especially for Morbid Mask, probably the most consistent one. But there's also, you know, like Vampire Fangs. I think that's what it's called, right? The neutral item. Boots of Bearing. Recipe cost increased from 1,500 to 1,700. I actually think this item has become less popular, and for good reason. And I think it's because there's just so many other cheap items that you can buy as well. Situationally, still a very, very good item. You know, infinite charges, and if the enemy team has a lot of slows to deal with, the active is incredible. Bracer has 1 extra damage now, which is okay. It's all right. If you're buying 2, can kind of matter early on, but not really. Crimson Guard, a very strong item. The recipe cost was increased, so that's kind of good for the item because it means that buying the other components is still, like Vanguard and Helm is still not that expensive, which are good components. But the total cost was increased by 125 gold, and it's 75 mana, which does matter because the heroes that tend to buy it are strength heroes, and they don't have mana pools usually, so this does hurt them and can certainly matter. Eternal Shroud, I never see this item, and yeah, I just don't think, I still think no one's gonna buy it. Fairy Fire, cost decreased from 70 to 65. Okay, it's fine. Pavis, which was already a broken item, got buffed where it also blocks physical damage from spells, which is just straight up a buff for sure, right? It's definitely just a buff. Like, of course you would want to block just the damage in general. So yeah, this is just, I think it's a buff, unless I'm misunderstanding something. I think it's just straight up a buff. HP regen decreased from 8.5 to 6, which is a lot. Magic resistance bonus decreased from 25% to 20%. That is also a lot. I think it was 30. Yeah, it was 30, and then 7.33 they nerfed it. And they also nerfed the passive from 15 to 10. You used to get freaking 45%. Now it was diminishing, but you used to get 45%. Now you get 30. It's an insane drop from what this item used to be. Do I think Pipe's bad? It's tough, man. 450 absorb on all of your teammates. It's just so noticeable in team fights. And the item still costs the same, right? It's still only a 3,300 gold item. It's reasonably cheap. It's tough, man. I mean, these are huge nerfs overall, but like at the end of the day, with how dominant these items have felt to me, is this enough? I think the answer is no, to be honest. I mean, it's going to be really mana intensive because now it's also a 50 extra mana on Pipe. So we'll see. Ring of Health losing 0.5 HP regen, which is actually a lot. That's, it's 30 health per minute, which adds up for sure. It can be the difference between getting a kill or not. So Ring of Health slightly nerfed. It's definitely significant, especially considering this item used to give 6.5, but it was more expensive. So this is a pretty major nerf, I will admit. It's actually very significant, like very, very significant. I wonder if it will like really make the item not popular though, considering it builds into Vanguard still. Sentries got buffed to be a bigger radius, which, okay, I respect that. It was like really hard to deward. And then Vanguard, the most broken item of the patch, received the same HP regen nerf. Okay, not the same, it's actually even worse. I didn't know it got slightly more when you upgraded the item, so it's actually even worse on Vanguard. And then the damage block down by 8, which is a lot in the early game considering it would help you tank stacks, creeps, a ton of different right clicks, so this will add up. So this is a pretty significant nerf. Is it really gonna make the item unpopular though? I don't think so, to be honest. I don't know. It's a good nerf, I will admit. I think this is a necessary nerf. It's a little sad for me because I like buying this item, but I don't know. Is it enough? I don't think it's enough to make the item unpopular though. It just feels so cheap, but they nerfed it so hard overall. We'll see. I'm not sure about this one, guys. I'm not gonna lie. Duelist Gloves. Boldness attack speed increased from 15 to 20. This is the passive where if you're close to the enemy, you get a ton of attack speed. This item's pretty good, man. If you want to fight, you hit really hard. So if you're fighting, you take Duelist Gloves. If you're farming, you don't. Seeds of Serenity, which I'm a huge fan of this item. Gives 150 health, which is crazy high. It gives you 3 HP regen now, which is the buff to it, this patch, which is a lot, keep in mind. 3 HP regen, that's a lot. Because it's just passive, right? And you get the active. 10 HP regen, man. to the AoE, and it's a massive AoE now because they buffed it. I'm personally a fan of this item. I think it's been buffed so much where it's just good now. I really believe that. Like, Spark of Courage. This item's crazy. If you're above 50% health, you just get 18 damage. So generally, if you're a farming hero, you just get 18 damage, straight up. It's just an 18 damage item. And then it's 7 armor if you're below half health, which is still a ton, right? Like, that's insane. This item's actually crazy now. I'm sure no one took it, and so they buffed it, even though it probably wasn't as bad as people thought. But now it's just broken, I think. 18 damage? And 7 armor. 7 armor if you're below 50%, which is like obviously good if you're getting ganked. I don't know. This item is crazy. I'm telling you, these 3 items are all kind of crazy. I think they were just underused, and so Valve buffed them, and now they're gonna maybe be too strong. And Shovel, which was probably also not taking that much, now has a 40-second dig, which I also think Shovel's underrated. Like, the fact that you can get bounties, the salve is useful, the mango is useful, the cobalt's fine. I really think that Shovel's pretty good too. I think Shovel's hard to take over the really good stat items though that give mana. That's the problem. It's like, do you really want to take Shovel over Oculate Bracelet? The answer's probably not. And now do you want to take it over an item that gives you double the health HP regen as well? Like, it's tough. It's tough. Dragon Scale, a little bit of burn, a lot of extra mana regen to Eye of Vizier, which is pretty good actually. It helps the item a lot. A lot of mana regen actually. It's nice. It's nice. Not a terrible item if you really need the cast range. Gossamer Cape, cooldown. So this is where you evade a spell. Specialist Array Crack Shot now deals a bonus 20 damage. 20? They just gave you 20 damage on the 8-second cooldown? Whoa, I mean, it's just a big buff, right? They just randomly hit for an extra 20 every 8 seconds. Crack Shot now prioritizes heroes. Oh, and it prioritizes heroes now, which is also a buff, for sure. This item is really strong, guys. You can take it on melee heroes, because on melee heroes, it still gives you 17 damage, right? And stats, right? It's 17 damage and stats. It's like particularly good on range heroes though, obviously. Very, very good on range heroes. Vambrace, overall nerf. I mean, the item was taken a lot. I don't think it was as broken as people thought. It's definitely a good item. It's just too well-rounded. Vampire Fangs, 10% spell life steal, okay. Defiant Shell, this item is actually very, very strong on some heroes. Definitely a solid item. Enchanted Quiver got slightly buffed. This item was already good. Vindicator's Axe, 5 more attack speed, already good item, definitely very, very strong. Aesthetics Cap, health regen bonus increased from 15 to 20. Whoa, 20 HP regen's crazy. 250 health, obviously not that much. And then you get 40% status resistance for 5 seconds. 5 seconds, you get 40% resistance for 5 seconds. This item's gotta be crazy. If you have to tank the ganks or you have to be the initiator, this item is insane. It makes you so hard to get chain stun. Here's the thing about Dota. People aren't good enough on average, I'm just being real. People aren't good enough on average to understand the value of items in certain circumstances and in certain games. If you're the guy who has to run up cliffs or has to initiate, or it's the point of the game where the enemy team has a lot of chain stun and you will carry the fight if you just don't get chain stunned, you don't need damage. You're playing Phantom Assassin, okay? And you're killing everyone. You can take this cap thingy over Havoc Hammer, Martyr's Plate, Spell Prism, Stormcraft. You can take this on a right-click hero, and you can use it over even Vindicator's Axe, which, yes, gives you 35 attack speed and huge buffs to, like the passive's really nice. And there's some other tier 3 items that are honestly better than a lot of the tier 4 items for right-clickers. Tier 4 items just don't seem to be that good for right-clickers, to be honest. But, like, Aesthetics Cap is, like, crazy in some games. It just makes you not be able to get bursted. You're always going to get your BKB off and so on and so on. So people just don't realize how good this item can be in some cases, which is why it's going to get buffed more than it should. I'm not saying this is like some crazy buff, but it's definitely a notable buff. What is that, a 25% increase technically? Havoc Hammer, I mean, the stats are really good on strength heroes. It's not a bad item actually. It can do a lot, but it's just like, I don't know. It's like a strength hero item generally. Martyr's Plate, this item's cool. Redirect 20% of all damage dealt to your allied heroes towards you. I feel like it's situationally good, but at the same time, it's like, can you really take all that damage? It's like very situational, but 25% magic resist, very, you know, it's a high number, very high number. If you can remember to use the active, it's good. It's a hard item to use for sure. You got to know when to use it, but can be very good. Spell Prism, probably the most popular tier 4 item, I would imagine, got nerfed. And Stormcrafter, but not that much. It's still good though. The Stormcrafter, some movement speed. This item is not that bad on some heroes, honestly. It's not that bad. Okay, let's get into the hero changes. Let's go. Base damage decreased. Okay, so what you guys need to understand throughout this patch, it's the main change that was made is that universal heroes, because of the fact that they buffed the attribute per stat, they would have way too much base damage because of that change. So they had to like balance it out essentially. So essentially, Abaddon's base damage got decreased by 7, but he has the same damage because of the fact that his stats give him damage. Another example for Batrider, he actually got 2 damage. So the hero got mega buffed because not only are his stats and his branches more valuable, he just got 2 more damage, right? So Batrider getting a nice buff here. However, Beastmaster, they just decreased his damage by 3, right? So they did straight up hurt him. This is just a nerf. He lost 3 base damage, which certainly matters. It hurts this hero. And he lost a bit of Hawk Vision. Not a big deal though. To be honest, this kind of doesn't matter. Bounty Hunter lost 0.5 HP regen, hurts his laning stage, which was really broken, but still good. And then track cooldown from 4 seconds flat to 6.5, which it's a nerf because you do actually want to spam track early game, and it does matter. It really does, because you might lose out on a few track kills and the extra damage you can apply with Shuriken. So and hitting. So it can matter. The hero's still gonna be good though for sure. Brewmaster, basically the same. Brooded the same. Chaos Knight got huge buffs. 2 base strength, which is crazy good because it makes him way tankier, and he hits for 2 extra damage, so that's insane. His minimum damage on his bolt went from 60 at level 1, it's just 30 higher at all levels, but it went from 60 to 90 at level 1, which is the most important one, because that's when you really care about the damage on bolt, which is like good for the lane. So they gave him better laning because of base strength, better laning because of the minimum damage on Chaos Bolt, and the lifesteal he gets from creeps, which is the main way you heal in the laning stage, got buffed by 10%. And his level 10 talent got buffed, and his 15 talent got buffed, if you decide to take those talents, which often you will. This hero got hard buffed, might be meta. I honestly definitely am like a Chaos Knight believer. I personally think that this hero is probably undervalued, I'm not gonna lie. I'm a Chaos Knight believer for sure. I think this hero is undervalued. And now it got like hard buffed. Chen, about the same. Clockwork, he got 2 base damage. Agility gain, which is huge, because this is a universal hero, right? Yeah, so this is huge. Anytime a universal hero gets gain increases, agi gain and gain strength gain, it matters way more, generally. Actually, is that true? It's more consistent, right? So it's just like really good that he gets this agi gain and this int gain. Every time he levels up, he's just getting so much value out of this, even though it's not like previously because he was strength, these wouldn't have helped him in terms of his damage. Now it does. CM lost 20 damage on Crystal Nova at level 1, which is particularly rough because typically you leave this spell at level 1 and you max Frostbite. So this really hurts you considering you don't want to level it, right? And that's kind of how they changed it. It's a cool change. I think it makes sense. The hero was definitely very popular and needed a slight nerf, so I'm fine with that. Darkseer the same. Willow got 2 base damage. Dawnbreaker got a little bit of buff to Luminosity, not enough in my opinion. I don't think the hero is too good. Dazzle, base damage is the same. However, his talents got buffed up quite a bit. If you're going like a scaling Poison Touch build, he's much better. Crypt Swarm now does 15 more damage at max level. The radius on your silence is 25 bigger, which is actually a big deal. And this really helps the hero because it's just more consistent damage. It's going to let you secure the range without auto-attacking it as the game progresses. It's just good. Like, it really does. It adds up. Even though the early levels for Crypt Swarm are about the same, it matters for sure. And then the radius, it definitely matters. But the biggest part here is Exorcism duration was increased by 5 seconds, which is pretty huge, right? It's definitely pretty damn huge. Because it's just like 5 seconds on this spell, it always feels like it ends a little bit too quickly, and now it's just like it keeps going. It's going to help you take the tower, farm a bit more with it, kill, whatever it is. Doom, definitely a broken hero. The bonus gold on Devour at level 1 was decreased from 50 to 30, which is nearly half, so pretty rough there. However, by the time you get back to level 4, it's 195 instead of 200, so it's practically the same. Is it going to hurt you? Absolutely. Is it going to slow down your timing? Yes, but by enough, in my opinion, no. So if you're a Doom specialist and you understand what makes this hero broken, I still think it's generally very, very strong and should be considered as a meta pick. But definitely hard nerfs, especially in the early levels, right? This when you could just spam Devour early on, it actually might influence people to consider taking Infernal Blade at level 2 and then focus on like using Devour's benefits later on. That could be an option. However, it still hurts you even if you do that, right? Actually, it hurts you more if you take a point in Infernal Blade because you need level 2 Devour to start working off these nerfs. So yeah, I don't know, good change, I would say. Dragonite got 5 movement speed, which is nice, and then he got a base attack time improvement, which makes you attack faster. So that's big for a right-click hero. These are huge buffs. to Dragonite. Huge buffs. Is he meta? I don't know. Kind of, maybe? I don't know. Sort of? Yeah, probably. Because Pango and Void Spirit got nerfed in this patch, who are kind of his counterparts, kind of. Earthshaker, huge buffs. Fisher range increased by 200, which is massive. It's way bigger. Cast point and Enchant Totem is faster by 0.1, which certainly matters, makes it easier to use. And then Aftershock is 0.1 second better at all levels, which is definitely better. It makes it easier to chain stun. You're less likely to mess it up, and you can technically chain stun for longer. And then Echo Slam, 15 extra damage per unit, which is insanely high. On top of that, the radius is 100 bigger, so you are more likely to get more units in, and it's 15 damage per extra more per level. And the cooldown was decreased by 20 at level 1. So it's the same at max, but it's 20 at 1, 10 at 2, same at max. But way better. This hero's way better. I don't know, maybe it's a viable hero. I honestly am kind of leaning towards Shaker being like good. These are very notable buffs, and I don't know if the hero was that bad. I don't know, there's some potential for Shaker for sure. I definitely can kind of believe in this hero. Enigma, Midnight Pulse, buffed by 10 seconds all levels. That's huge, but I don't know if the hero's good. I think it's pretty garbage. Gyro got 5 movement speed, good for support Gyro. Actually, did they nerf support Gyro? I can't remember, I feel like they did. Acorn Shot is buffed on Hoodwink, the mana cost, and the slow is a bit better. And the damage on Bushwhack is up at level 1. So trying to make this hero a bit of a better laner in particular. I don't know if it's enough. Huskar got 3 strength. Oh my god. That is insane. That's a huge buff. 3 strength. Just straight up. Wow. Invoker got 1 base strength. They nerfed the duration of Cold Snap, but buffed the freeze duration. So basically it's easier to kind of like chain stun people with it, kind of. It keeps them in place for longer. Tornado was way buffed at level 1. It went from 800 travel distance at level 1 to 1500. This thing can go across the whole map at level 1. What the hell? I don't know if that's no, it's definitely useful. Huh, okay. And then EMP Aghanim Shard pull rate from 100 to 175. I haven't even seen it. Actually, I saw it once. It didn't seem that good, but I don't know, maybe it's fine. And then Chaos Meteor, the contact damage was buffed and the burn damage per second was increased. So huge invoker buffs. Huge invoker buffs. I don't know, I love these changes because honestly they're good changes, but it's on heroes that are like kind of bad. So I'm like, I don't know if they're good or not. They're just like better, and it's gonna make people be able to like try them out and play them and give more diversity to the game, which is cool. Io got 2 base damage, which is huge because he's also a universal hero, so he just got like overall buffed by that change. So Io is gonna have way more damage as levels progress early game, so that's gonna help that hero a lot. Cuddle, broken hero, lost damage on Blinding Light at level 1. The radius is nerfed at level 1, and it scales up. Same thing with Blinding Light, scales back up to the same, but it's worse at all levels until it gets to max. Cast range also nerfed, where it's better at max, but 100 worse at level 1. It goes from 550, 650 to 400, 500, 600, 700. Cooldown increased as well, 3 seconds longer at level 1. So way worse at level 1. This ability is horrible at level 1 now in relation. Also, it's a level 15 Chakra Magic cooldown talent. Got nerfed from 4 seconds to 3 seconds. Maybe people would consider taking the Solar Bind Charges. Solar Bind Charges is insanely good. I can't believe people don't take it more often. The problem is, I can believe it, because Chakra Magic cooldown is just, it's Chakra Magic. This ability is insane. Legion Commander lost strength gain by 0.2. Bonus attack speed on your Q is worse at level 1. Basic, close to the same at level 2, but kind of. So overwhelming odds attack speed got nerfed, and the heal on your W got nerfed. So making this hero just generally a worse laner is the main problem. Probably still good though, overall. Lifestealer, Rage 1 second less at all level on cooldown, 5% extra slow on Ghoul Frenzy, which is a ton for the early game, and then cooldown on Infest down by 20 at level 1. Wow, that's crazy. You can use Infest way more early game to fight, or to farm, I guess. Lina, more damage on Dragon Slave, more damage on your W, not by a ton, but probably by enough. Her 15 talent also got buffed, so she can do quite a bit more damage with her nukes, like an extra like 45 on the rotation, if you go that route. Lion got 2 int, cooldown on Earth Spike, that's pretty huge. The damage was also increased on Earth Spike, 5 damage each per level, so up to 20 more damage than in the past. And his Aghanim Shard magic resist increased by 30%, which is a lot. Lone Druid got 2 damage, Lycan got 2 damage, Magnus lost 2 damage, and Marcy lost 2 damage. Why did Marcy lose 2 damage? Was this hero's win rate good? I haven't seen any Marcy. Why did she lose damage? I get Magnus, but Marcy? Mars got 1 second off on each spear. His Aghanim Shard got buffed a little bit, not by a lot. God's Rebuke got slightly buffed, not by enough. Mars is still shit in my opinion. Medusa! Ugh! Cooldown increased from 10 seconds to 13, 12, 11, 10. Okay, that makes sense. Hurting the early game of Medusa, necessary. Still very spammable at level 1, I will admit though. 13 seconds is not too bad. Level 2 can now be learned on level 1 instead of level 3 for Mana Shield. So basically, you can have 2 points of Mana Shield at level 1 if you want it. Is that good though? Let's find out. Damage per mana decreased from 2 to 2, from 2.5 to 2.4, from 3 to 3.2, and from 4 to 3.6. So most notably at max level, you're losing 0.4 damage per mana, which is certainly a lot. It's a ton actually. Nearly going back to what it was before. However, the real kicker of this hero is that the bonus mana you got at level 1 went from 200 to 0. From 200, I'll repeat that, to 0. You get 0 mana, bonus mana at level 1. So you are way squishier in the lane. You have to snake less, and you are way squishier. So, yeesh. I don't even know what to say. For support Medusa, way worse. Way worse. However, if you can manage to get over the hump of this nerfed laning stage, the hero is still worse at max, right? Because of the damage per mana, but it is about the same. If you can hit your Giga timing, you still will be very strong. But these are good changes. I think it's the right direction. Don't kill Medusa. And that's what I love. I like these changes. It's like, she's maybe still good, but maybe she's not. You know, and that's cool. It's really hard to tell, and that's gonna make some good experimenting. Mirana lost 4 damage. What the hell? Jesus Christ! Oh, I know why. The reason why she lost 4 damage is because I think she has really good stat gain. And so basically, if they didn't do this, she would just like get way too much damage over time. And she probably is better later on, I think is how that works. Like, yeah, I think that's the reason why. Naga lost some damage on her level 15 talent, but people often took 15 strength, so I don't know. Nature's Prophet, my boy! Cooldown reduced by 5 seconds all levels. That's not enough to make it really feel that good, but okay. 30 seconds at max still feels like shit. Please change that back to 20. Max stacks though, this is the big thing. So how the teleport works is when you teleport, you get 6 damage per stack, and you get 1 armor per stack. So every time you attack, you get 1 armor, and then if you have 6 stacks, and it gives 6 damage per stack, you get 36 damage on your first hit, and then 30 damage on your second hit, and then 24, and so on and so on. So basically, when you TP in now with level 1 teleport, instead of getting 18 damage, you get 36, which is a lot of damage. That's like a ton of damage. Like, you hit like for a treant level of damage when you teleport in with your first stack. So I think honestly what people might do if they play this hero is literally take teleport at level 1, because treants at level 1 suck. They're like literally bad. The only thing they do is zone the 5. You can just teleport in, and you hit for 36 extra on your first auto, which is going to make it easy to CS and deny. The problem is it's a 60-second cooldown, so like you're only that useful for the first 60 seconds, and then it lasts for 15 seconds. So like this bonus armor you get is like it doesn't last that long. I don't know. I don't think this is gonna make the hero good, to be honest. However, they gave him 15 damage on Wrath of Nature, which is like actually a ton. Because how this ability works is like the more units it hits, the more damage it does, right? So damage increases its percentage, right, on the bounce. So it's a big buff to Wrath of Nature for sure. So is the hero good? I think the answer is no. But yeah, cool changes. Good buffs though. Good buffs in the right direction, just not enough in my opinion. Nyx is about the same. Oracle got a nerf on his Q at level 1, so he's a worse laner, but it scales to the same. But you know, this is typically a value point spell, so it's actually quite the nerf. It's actually a huge nerf because it's a value point. Yeah, it's a nerf from 15 to 18. And then the mana cost on your W, Fate's Edict, is 15 more at level 1. So really hurting the fact that this hero has mana problems, and they nerfed his mana last patch too. So yeah, he's gonna have problems there. Pango lost 4 damage at level 1. His swash dash range got nerfed by 300 at level 1, but it scales to the same. And then the lucky shot chance got increased by 2% though, which is actually quite noticeable, because considering when you swash, you know, you're hitting, what, 4 times, 5 times? So Phantom Lancer got nerfed again. Really, I haven't even seen any of the hero anymore, so I don't know why they did that, but okay. Base damage on Phoenix, the same. Primal Beast got some int gain. The big thing about Primal Beast is when you uproar now at level 1, you get 2 per stack instead of 1, which is a double. You have to look at it as a double. So now when you have max stacks, you get 10 armor instead of 5, which is an insane increase. So big buff to Primal. Also his hit increase, pulverized by 25, which is going to give you 75 more damage on your ult, which is going to help you finish kills. That's really, really nice. And then at level 20, you're never taking that shit. I'm not even going to read it. All right, agility gain increased from 2.6 to 2.8 on a Razor, and he got 1 armor, which is not bad. And he got 4% bonus movement speed on his passive at level 1, which is pretty solid. Base armor on Ricky decreased by 1. Aghanim Shard armor reduction decreased by 1. Base restore time nerfed by 3 seconds at max level. Holy shit, sir. Oh my god, Ricky. I don't know. The hero is still one of the highest win rate heroes in Dota, so like now it will fall to like number 10 instead of being like number 3. It'll be like 10 or 15. So is it still good? Probably, but not if you're really high Mamar. I think, kind of. I don't know. Sand King is the same. Shadow Fiend got a bit of a buff to his talent. Glaives of Wisdom on Silencer is 5 more mana, which is kind of rough. Skywrath lost 2 int, which is also kind of rough considering the hero definitely has mana problems. Aghanim Scepter distance decreased from 1100 to 1000 on Slark's Ag's Pounce, which is certainly a nerf for chasing and disengaging. 2 base damage for Snapfire. This is a crazy change. This is one of the more wild changes. Sniper now provides 200 attack range when active with take aim. So what you do is you take your level 10 talent, which increases your take aim duration. And then when you click take aim, you're guaranteed headshot. You're slowed, but you guarantee headshot, and you get 200 attack range. So when you have take aim active, and what you can do is you can go on someone, you can go on them, and then when they get out of your attack range, you click take aim and you can keep clicking them. Or you can just lead the fight from like really, really far away and stay in position. So you have good options here. This is a huge buff to the hero for sure. Spearbreaker got some really huge buffs, 0.3 strength gain. Mana cost on Charge of Darkness, which is big because the hero has mana problems, is 20 less. You can't target debuff immune enemies, which I didn't know you even could do because I never see this hero, but that's actually a big, big nerf because you could basically charge spell immune units without Ags. Now you need Ags to do it, which is what it was in the past, so that was just actually kind of made the hero probably better than people realized. He got 5% extra status resist on Bulldoze. The cooldown on Greater Bash from 1.5 to 1.2, which is actually big if you get enough attack speed. It certainly can matter. The movement speed as damage also got up by 5%, which is actually a lot. That's like definitely a big damage increase. And the cooldown on Nether Strike got decreased by 20 at all levels, from 90, 70, 50 on Nether Strike to 70, 50 all the way down to 30 seconds. But honestly, the biggest one, even though the 30 seconds seems insane, and it is, the biggest one here is 90 to 70. It just means you can be way more active on this hero because it has a very strong ulti, but you want to be just like really, really active. This really amps the tempo of that. So huge buffs to Spiritbreaker. I don't know if he's good, but like, because the hero's kind of clunky, but I don't know, man. I feel like it can't be that bad. It just doesn't. The problem with Spiritbreaker is he just often feels like he doesn't do that much damage. He just kind of like sometimes just walks around and clicks you and doesn't bash, and it's like, is this hero good? I don't know. Techies is basically the same, technically better. Base damage on Templar, base movement speed on Templar increased by 5, and Meld got a bit of a damage buff. Terrorblade, very strong hero, can no longer target debuff immune enemies. So Sunder, basically you could use it on people if they were BKB'd, and that was stupid because that was not supposed to be the case. That was part of the reason he fell off to some extent. Do I think this kills the hero? No, but it certainly hurts and you have to be careful about it. Timbersaw, base damage decreased by 3. Oh, sorry, yeah, his base damage got decreased by 3, but his level 1 damage got increased by 3, so that's huge. Underlord Fiend's Gate, his ultimate, got 100 more mana, which is a lot, honestly. It's very expensive in terms of mana cost. However, and they nerfed his level 10 talent, the Firestorm Radius, and they nerfed Firestorm cooldown reduction. Funny enough, Ace, a pro player, didn't take either of these talents. I always would take these talents, not always. Usually would take them, unless I really wanted the armor. But now I feel like I'm going to be less likely to take it. I mean, they're still good, right? If you really want to play around Firestorm, it's still really good to take these talents, because they're still good talents, but I don't know, I'm going to be more inclined to take the other ones now. Base damage increased by 3 on Venge. Venal lost 4 base damage. Holy. Visage gained 2 damage. Void Spirit lost 5 damage at level 1. What the frick? 5. My god. They also nerfed the Q damage, so hurting his laning stage, and they nerfed the E damage, by 15 at max. Why? I don't think the hero was even that good anymore. And they nerfed its level 10 mana regen talent and its level 25 astral step crit talent. Why did they nerf this hero so much? Wind Ranger is the same. Wyvern has 4 more damage level 1. Right, oh my god. Lifesteal from creeps increased on Vampiric Spirit, raising his heal by 10%. And the final hero, Zeus, mana cost decreased on the Q by 5. It's just 5 at all levels, so it's easier to cast Arc Lightning. I don't think it's going to make that big of a change. It's 5 mana. But you're spamming it, so it kind of matters. Actually, no, it matters. It adds up. Thunder God's Wrath got 50 extra damage at level 1. At all levels, sorry. But especially at level 1. Huge, 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 huge. Because it really matters, right? Just means that when you click this spell, it just like briefs the entire map really hard. Like, it just really does. That 50 extra damage is going to help you finish off kills. And his talents got buffed a little bit. His level 20 talent is pretty huge. Arc Lightning current health is damage increased from 4% to 6%. It's percentage-based damage, so it's actually really huge. But alright, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll end the video by saying I'm very impressed. This is pretty awesome, man. Like, so many changes so frequently. Sometimes I obviously do think that there's like a line, but I really don't think they're crossing the line of like too many changes. I don't even think they're close. I think this patch could have been bigger and I would have had a good time reading it. Because I love changes, I love patches, I love changes, and I love exploring it. And I respect the fact that they did it even close to like a pro season. I might change my mind on that at some point. You know, I'm always changing my mind, but I respect it. The fact that they're willing to just kind of worry more about the overall quality of the game for the average player. And these changes aren't so significant where it completely breaks the meta. It's gonna change the meta, I assure you. Like Chaos Knight is a big one. DOTA is insanely different. Alk. Why do I feel like I didn't read Alk? Did I skip over Alk? I skipped over Alk accidentally. Huh. Why did I do that? Alchemist, so I'll read it quickly now, I guess, if you're still watching. Alk got gutted pretty hard. I don't know if the hero's even good anymore. It lost 5 movement speed, which is a big deal. Concoction, cooldown increased by 2 seconds, which certainly matters, especially later on. Because, like, you would want to spam this ability in team fights, so it certainly hurts. His base bonus gold got decreased from +3 to +2, so it takes way, and then the extra bonus gold per creep from 3 to 2, so it takes way longer to get up to the 18 bonus gold, and you get less as you go along, so it's way worse. And your Chem Rage gives you 20 less movement speed at level 1, and your level 15 talent damage per Grievous Greed stack got decreased from 3 to 2, so this hero got hit really hard to the point where it's almost like, is it even viable? I don't know. Alk's in a weird spot now. But once again, cool. It's like where the hero was so busted where like now it makes it as like a viable pick that's like sometimes good. Which is like generally where you want most heroes to be so people can pick different stuff and win. You don't have to pick Alk or Medusa to win, you know? It's better for there to be more variety in Dota. I always believe that. Even though I'm like such a big Alk fan, so it kind of hurts me to see this. Like I love Alk and I love playing Alk, so it hurts me. But yeah, still. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and I'm out. Peace.
And that's all. But remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the Game Leap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.